So it's the Merseyside Derby on Wednesday. Massive game for both teams, isn't it? And I've got to be honest, this isn't where I thought we would be at this stage in the season. Coming into the Goodison Derby, I thought this game would maybe matter more to Everton than it does to Liverpool. And it doesn't feel like that now. It's a really odd feeling going into this one. Because normally, I'll be honest with you, it doesn't matter how well Liverpool are playing, it doesn't matter how badly Everton are playing, which has often been the case in recent derbies, I'm always nervous. Especially the Goodison Derby, because it does feel like Goodison has been a real leveller for Everton in recent years. It has been, and I mean, it always has been to a degree. We've never been terrific at Goodison Park. I mean, in the last 7 visits to Goodison Park, for what it's worth, Liverpool have won once. Which, if you consider this to be a really defining era in Liverpool's history, you know, this is one of the greatest Liverpool teams. Well, maybe not this one. I think it is, but certainly Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool team is one of the greatest Liverpool sides we have seen, perhaps ever. You know, an all-conquering Liverpool team, won everything there is to win, reached multiple finals, you know, massive points records in the Premier League. I think they are comparable with the 70s and 80s great Liverpool teams. Even if they maybe didn't win as much, they're certainly comparable. And in a defining era in Liverpool's history where we've had one of the best Liverpool teams ever, we've only won once at Goodison Park in the last 7 visits. That's insane. It's been 1 win Liverpool, 1 win Everton, which was last year, and 5 draws. And it's really frustrating because when the Premier League fixtures come out at the start of the season, the Goodison Derby is one of the ones that I always look for first, just because it is one of the ones that I get the most satisfaction, the most joy from winning, even though they're not a direct competitor. That rivalry still exists, and it's still so big. Especially for local fans, I mean, particularly it does matter, especially if you've grown up around Evertonians, as I have. I've got Evertonians in my family. You know, it really does make a difference when you win those games. You know, to have the bragging rights and all that sort of thing. And we got pelters last year when Everton beat us at Goodison, and you lost the league at Goodison Park and all that, you know, nonsense. But look, that's what it's about, isn't it? That's the whole point of these games. And I'm really looking forward to this one because I do think we've got the edge on them. I mean, of course we've got the edge on them. We are the better team, and I don't think there's an Evertonian out there that would argue we're not the better team. What I'm saying is, I guess, from a tactical point of view, we are in a much stronger position. I think Slot is a much better tactician than Klopp was. And I think Klopp's mistakes coming into the Goodison Derby is often that he almost let us get embroiled in the fight at times. You know, Everton have done so well in these games traditionally by making it a scrap and, you know, winning those second balls and making it a really tough, intense atmosphere, as you'd expect going to Goodison Park, but making it a real battle, not nice. Don't let us sit and you know, knock the ball around and fouling and breaking up the play and all that sort of thing. I think Slot mentioned that in his press conference, actually, that there was something like 10 fouls given in the first 10 minutes, and 9 of them were given to Everton, even though it was Liverpool players often getting kicked. And I think that's the difference with Slot. I think he'll take the emotion out of this one. I really do. I think he'll take the emotion out of it and play the opponent, not necessarily the occasion. It's not the last derby at Goodison Park as far as Slot is concerned. There'll be a lot of emotion about that. I'm sure Evertonians will be absolutely, you know, dying to win this one. But do you know what? Does it make a difference that it's the last derby? I was listening to Ped from Toffee TV, funnily enough, talk about this and say, you know, no one really is too focused on it being, it's the last derby at Goodison Park. That's just something really for the club to hype up. Actually, it's just another derby, and it's another opportunity to win bragging rights over, you know, our rivals until we play them again. And that's the big sell, isn't it? The fact that it's the last derby at Goodison Park and it's a send-off for Goodison Park isn't necessarily the most important factor here. But I guess I'm really just concerned about the narrative around what happens if Liverpool draw. I'm not too worried about Everton beating Liverpool. I'm really not. And the reason I say that, I know that's going to sound arrogant. I know Everton have scored quite freely under David Moyes. Bizarrely, I've called Everton's attack the worst in the Premier League all season. And I still believe that. With no Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who I think is He's been poor, but I still think he's better than Beto. You know, they've still got quite a few other injuries milling about. I don't think they have enough pace to threaten Liverpool. If we've got Konate and Van Dijk, I don't think they've got enough strength up top to really concern Liverpool. It'll be a lot of set pieces again. It'll be winning free kicks and corners, and you know, that's where Everton have always been dangerous under Dyche and again under Moyes. Ndai can cause us some problems, and again I expect, you know, him drifting off that left side. He probably will cause us some more problems than the most problems of any Everton attacker. But unless they get a penalty, unless someone switches off on a corner, I don't see Everton scoring. I honestly don't. I think that's really what we're talking about here. I think we'll keep them out, and it's whether or not Liverpool can score early, keep their heads in a really, really, powder keg atmosphere. It is. They are going to make it a really difficult place to go and play. And by that I mean playing football on the deck, pass. David Moyes is going to have none of that. You know, let's get the ball up in the air. Let's play it long where we can. Let's try and get them turned. Win your second balls. Lots of energy. That's what David Moyes will be looking for from this one. I don't think he's under any illusions about what the limits are on this Everton side. And look, that's not to sound like I really don't want it to be head patting and patronising. Everton are a club I really do respect, and I'm glad that they're going to stay in the Premier League this year. I want the derby to continue. I want to see us at Bramley-Moore. This whole, the best stadium in the Championship, I never thought it was a possibility, really. And I'm genuinely glad that's the case, because for what it's worth, I don't want to see Everton win. I don't want to see Everton successful. But I certainly don't want to see him go down either. I really enjoy the derby. It's one of the fixtures I love the most. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to be doing a live watch along. So if you want to join me, by all means, But one factor actually that I think is going to be really important in this game, because it's all of a sudden, just in the last few days, Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez and Diogo Jota, there have been links and rumours linking those to moves away. And the way they performed against Plymouth was dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. And they played like players who it looked like their agents had told them just before kickoff, yeah, you boys are going in the summer. So I'm not worried at all about Salah or Gakpo. I think those are our two form attackers. But it'll be interesting to see who Slot puts through the middle. Because in games like this, he's traditionally gone with Diaz, which I still don't like. I still don't understand. I have no idea why you would do that. I think you're better off playing with a traditional centre-forward. So, personally, I would rather see Darwin or Jota there. But I think both of those move on in the summer. And as we get to the end of the season now, even though I'm sure both players are professional and will want to win with Liverpool, does that just, take the edge off their game a little bit? That they know they're probably not long for the club? I don't know. I hope not, because I really think that Jota and Núñez can contribute massively to whatever Liverpool go on to achieve between now and the end of the season. I think both are terrific players, and that's really the only question mark in the Liverpool starting lineup. As far as I'm concerned, I think it pretty much picks itself, doesn't it? Alisson in goal. There's no Trent Alexander-Arnold, so Conor Bradley's in for this one, which is fine. Van Dijk and Konate, absolutely fine. I think Robertson has to come back in for this one because Tsimikas was really poor against Plymouth, and yeah, I think Robertson has to come back in. He's still our best left-back, as far as I'm concerned. Midfield three, again, picks itself. I would have Szoboszlai, Gravenberch and McAllister in there. There's nobody else, really. Jones, I think he picked up a knock before the Plymouth game. He was meant to start that one, I'm led to believe, but ended up on the bench and didn't come on anyway. And then the front three, Salah, Gakpo, pick themselves, and it's just that one spot, that striker spot. Is it Jota? Is it Diaz? Is it Núñez? And out of the three of them, I think Núñez was the most impressive against Plymouth. And has been the most impressive, which is a very, very low bar, admittedly. But I think Núñez deserves it after, Brentford and the way that he's played generally this season. I think he's worked really hard. And I do still think there's a top striker in there. I mean, Fabrizio Romano posted only yesterday that Darwin Núñez was very close to an £80 million move to Al Nassr in January. and Liverpool rejected it. And I've got to say, I'd be a little bit disappointed to see him go there, but that's maybe for a different video. I think he's better than that. I think we could see Darwin Núñez go to an Atletico Madrid, for example, and kick on in the way that we saw Diego Forlan, another Uruguayan, who flopped at Manchester United, went to La Liga and was brilliant for Villarreal and Atletico. But yeah, I think I'd go Darwin Núñez up there with Salah and Gakpo. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jota in there and wouldn't be disappointed to see him in there either. But I don't think Diaz is the right person for this game, personally. I think Diaz off the bench can cause issues and stretch Everton late in the game. But no, I think Jota or Núñez, it has to be a proper centre-forward up there, please. And then in terms of predictions, I really don't know how to call this one because I still think we'll win. I am going to go for a win. I don't think a draw would be terribly surprising. I think Everton can frustrate. Defensively, well, you never really know what you're going to get with Everton. They could have Tarkowski at the weekend, for example, has an absolute howler, dives in, concedes a penalty early doors, and that changes the game against Bournemouth. But they can frustrate. They are well organised at the back, and the longer the game stays 0-0, the more confidence they'll get. So I think Liverpool need an early goal in this one. We really need an early goal. Hopefully a goal in the first half and we go in at half-time 1-0 up or maybe more. If we score first, I think that's it. I really do. I can't see Everton coming back from a goal down. I think Liverpool will have most of the ball and I think Everton will show a lot of spirit and a lot of fight in that first half. And if it gets to half-time 0-0, I will feel a little bit nervy because that's when Everton can sucker punch you, same as they did last year, to be honest. It'll only take a scrappy, bobbly, set piece or a penalty or something like that, and they've always got that in them. If Liverpool score first, then I think it's done, and it could be actually quite a comfortable Derby victory. So I know I'm not doing myself any favours here because I'm not really making any predictions. I'm just talking about every way the Derby could go. I think back to the 4-1, which is the last game Liverpool won at Goodison Park. And Henderson scored in the first half, and I think Salah added one not long after that. We can't concede first, we've got to hurt them. If Everton take the lead, it becomes unbelievably difficult, and I really could see them getting something from it then. If Liverpool score first, I expect we score 2, 3, maybe even 4, and make it a really comfortable night. If we are limited and Everton defend really deep and really well, and they turn it into that scrap and that fight, as they've done very successfully in recent years against Liverpool, and other teams, by the way. Difficult place to go, Goodison Park. Then, yeah, I suspect they get a point, maybe. Just... Oh, it's so tough to call, though. It's so tough. It really is tough to call, because the form sheet just goes out the window. It always has in derbies. I remember us getting beat 3-0 here under Benitez, and we were playing really well then. And then it's just come to Everton, and they weren't brilliant that day either. But we were just dreadful and just making mistakes, and it was just a really shocking day. Right, so stop talking around the houses. I'm going to give a prediction, right? This is how I think it'll go. I think Liverpool score in the first half. I think we have been very, very clinical, and we will get chances, and I think we take one in the first half. I think we've been our first team anyway, maybe not our backup lads against PSV and Plymouth, but the first team, the first 11 have been deadly in front of goal recently. So I think that we take one of those chances in the first half, and in the second half we come out and add 2 more. So I'm going to go 3-0. I think Liverpool stroll to a win at Goodison Park. I think we make the last derby at Goodison Park a walkover. That's big words. That's big words. And I'm really, I'm hoping I don't regret them. But I do. I think we're just too good. We're just too good, and I think we're going to win this title, and I think this is going to put a real dent in Arsenal's confidence, because we're going to go 9 points clear. We're going to go 9 points clear, and Arsenal fans are pinning a lot of their hopes on this game, by the way. They really are. They really think that Everton have got to get something in this, even if it's just a point. Because even a point was 7 points clear with a much better goal difference. But 9 points clear with a better goal difference, it's effectively 10. That's pretty much game over for Arsenal. Please. So, I guess we'll see. But I'm going to go 3-0. I'm going to go Everton 0, Liverpool 3. Really looking forward to it. Join me for the watch along. I'll be right here tomorrow night. or tonight, by the way, because I'm publishing this tomorrow. So yeah, I'll be right here tonight before kick-off. Join me and give us a like, give us a follow if you enjoyed this sort of stuff. See you in the next one.